In this module, we're going to create a back-to-top button using Pinegrow interactions, just like the one that you see in our final project. When you start scrolling down the page, you'll see that we wait just a little bit and then it appears. When you click on it, we get a smooth scroll all the way back up to the top. As always, if you've been following along in the project, most of the HTML and CSS has already been created for you. We just need to worry about the interactions piece. Let's switch over to the index.html file and take a look at the tree view. To see the button, we'll expand the footer, and you'll see one div has the content of the footer, and the next div has our button. With that button selected, all that you see is a white box with nothing in there. Let's take a look at the style panel and find out why, and you'll see that we have a rule that says visibility hidden. We can uncheck that rule, and now we see what the button's going to look like. Let's hide it again to set things back to the way that they were. And now we're going to set up our interactions. So the first thing we're going to do is come over to the interactions panel. And we want to make sure that this button is hidden when the page loads. So we're just going to say hide at start. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to have two different interactions that we need to define. One is going to be the interaction that takes us back to the top, and then the next interaction is going to be the one that shows the button when we scroll down a little bit. Let's do the button that takes us to the top first. So for that, we'll just make sure that we have the button selected, and we'll say add an interaction. I'm going to call this scroll to top button. The trigger we can leave as the default, and that just means that it's going to trigger when we click on it. For target element, we want to set this to body because we want it to apply no matter where it is on the page. When we hit our drop down, we don't have that, but we can say edit selector, and we have a handy little reference for how we should create our selectors. Now with interactions, it's very easy to create a selector for any child element, but to go to a parent element, we need to preface it with the $sign. So our selector is just going to be $body. And when we hover over, you can see in the tree panel what it's going to apply to. We're going to do a custom animation. So I'll just say edit animation. And here, we'll expand this a little bit so that we can see it. We can see that we already have our body selected. And all we need to do now is click on our timeline to create a tween that scrolls us to the top of the page. To do that, I want to make sure that my duration is set to 0.2 seconds because I think half a second is a bit too much. And we'll just do add property, scroll to top. Now when I play that animation, it takes us to the top of the page. But still clicking on it doesn't do anything because the button's not visible yet. So to control the visibility of the button, we need to come over to our header element. And this is what we're going to attach it to, because we want it to show when we scroll down about 200 pixels from the header. So with this selected, we're going to choose a scroll scene interaction. Direction is going to be auto detect. We don't need to change anything here for smoothing or enabled or any of those. For start and end, I want to say when we leave, we don't want to wait any time, but we do want to wait until we've gone 200 pixels. Now we'll scroll down to our animation. And we're going to define the animation. I'll give it a name. I'll call it scroll to top visibility. For target, we're going to leave it as the default because that's our scene element. And then we'll create our custom animation. And in this custom animation, we actually want to set two different things. We want to set an animation that shows it when it goes down the page a little bit. And we want to set an animation that hides it when it comes back up to the top. So let's move our scrubber all the way to the 0 point. And we have to tell it what it is that we want to interact with. So I could click on this and try to find the button element, but the easier thing to do is going to be to say select on page. And then all I have to do is click on it, and it will have automatically detected our selector for us. Now in the timeline, I'm just going to say new, and I want to do set at position 0, auto opacity of 0. That's going to make sure that it hides when it gets all the way back up to the top. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit more. And then we're going to create another one right after that. Again, we're going to do set, and we're going to do property of auto opacity 1. This is the one that's going to show it. And for this, I'm going to make my position about 0.1. Now let's scroll down. And we see it showing up, and we'll scroll up, and we see it disappearing. We're going to save this, export our theme, We will hit refresh on our demo project. And then when we scroll down, we see it appear. Click on it, and it scrolls back to the top. We'll scroll down again, and it appears. We'll scroll up, and it disappears. This is just a very simple demonstration of the power of Pinegrow interactions. There's a ton of stuff that you can do with this. I love making sticky headers with it, adding subtle animations to elements on the page, and the possibilities really are endless. If you want some inspiration, just go over to greensock.com, because Pinegrow Interactions is really just a white-labeled version of the Greensock library with a visual builder added onto it. Nearly anything that you can do with Greensock, you can also do with Pinegrow Interactions.